Hi, this is Emily with Pixel Breakdown, and today I have Nathan in. Let's just kick things off. Do you want to give an introduction on yourself and a quick pitch as to what your game Echoes of Etheria is about?
Sure. So, I'm Nathan Mayer, just a normal factory worker from Ohio. Just started working on my game about 3 years ago. But yeah, it's a text adventure slash Metroidvania, which is a bit of a weird mix. Yeah.
Yeah, you're not just a regular factory worker because you're working on this really cool game.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, as you were saying, it's described as like a text adventure Metroidvania inspired by the Souls series. I
Yeah.
know when people hear Metroidvania, they typically expect like a lot of interconnected map parts. As you're leveling up, you're probably going to like backtrack to some parts that weren't accessible prior as you're getting like new abilities and stuff. But I am curious, like, what components of these genres can we expect to see? And yeah, what inspired you to bring them together?
So, I guess I'll answer your last question first, then move backwards. So I think what inspired me the most is just playing so many of these different types of games. And I don't know, like I've always kind of wanted something like this, but I could never really find it. And yeah, I'm a huge fan of RuneScape. And I remember, 3 years before I started, I there's like a item I really wanted, and it's like a 1 in 100 chance. And I had killed this boss like 800 times and never got it. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a break, and I'm gonna finally work on this game idea that I've had. Um, but yeah, and then I've just been doing that ever since. But yeah, so I guess the things you could expect are the backtracking, um, different abilities that let you unlock new areas and all that. And I think my favorite part of Metroidvania is definitely like the interconnected map,
Mhm.
um, and just you get lost for a while, and then you find a path back to familiar places, and it just feels really good.
Agreed. Yeah, it's almost like replayability in the same playthrough, right? Like
Yeah,
because there's
yeah,
so much stuff you just don't even know um what's to come and what will branch out into a whole new path.
yeah, yeah. I'm like optimizing different routes to get places quicker, and I just
Yeah.
I really have a lot of fun with that stuff.
Yeah, and I think the best games are made when um gamers or people who play games are making the games that they want to play, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, and I totally agree. I think whenever there's passion, usually something good comes from it, and yeah.
agreed. Um, so as far as like the text adventure aspect, what does that mean in the context of your game? Is it like heavily on narrative delivery or exploration with the tied in or
So a little bit of both. Um, so it's a multiple choice text adventure. I used to read a lot of like those choose your own adventure books when
right?
I was in elementary school. So it's a lot like that. You'll come to a point, and then you'll have a few options, and then the paths diverge, and then you can even like backtrack and go back and try different things. So yeah, it's a little, I guess, a lot of narrative while you're exploring. So a little bit of both, and then you have breaks where the combat breaks it up. So you're kind of bouncing between like exploring and combat.
Right. Speaking about combat, so when it says it's inspired by the Souls series, people hear Souls or Souls like and think like really unforgiving boss battles or things
Yeah.
like that. Is that kind of where that inspiration gets tied into your game or
Uh,
something
so
else?
so a little bit. So I think the thing I really like about the Souls series is the just like the different character builds. So I really wanted to create some sort of system where you can create a specific build on
Yeah.
one playthrough and then change it up the next playthrough with a different weapon or something.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Um,
And of course the bonfires for the checkpoints and all that. And like I think I think out of all the Souls games, Dark Souls 1 is probably my favorite just because of all the backtracking. It it really feels like a Metroidvania.
yeah. Um, Speaking of like the campfires, which I could see that sort of visual fitting in with your game. I really love, like when I was looking through it on Instagram, uh, just the moody atmosphere that you
Yeah.
have. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, just deeply atmospheric and very unique too, because you only use
Thank you.
like black and shades of gray and, you
Yeah.
know, even, shifting over to like the white side of the spectrum, but it's just very moody and it fits very well. So, yeah, what inspired you to use this like darker and limited color palette?
I think just playing a lot of like old games where like the color palette was so limited. And I just really like those colors. Um, but the I guess the maybe I didn't make this clear in my Steam page and stuff because it is pretty early. But like Metroidvanias usually have like different areas. Like you might have like a forest area, and then you go to like a water area and
Yeah.
stuff like that. Um, so I basically have a set of limited palettes of like about 6 colors, and I'm going to like palette swap as you go to different areas,
Oh,
like
cool.
everything in the UI and all that.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, I
Yeah,
love when the UI changes too, because you really feel like you're in the scene, right?
yeah,
Um, is this your art that you've created?
yeah, yeah,
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I knew you were solo. Sometimes people find art from elsewhere, but yeah, I love it. I think it really says a lot without like needing a lot of words, if that makes sense. Or like
yeah.
yeah, it's just the limited color palette is not limiting. It creates this whole environment. I don't know.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
I draw a lot, and I took a lot of drawing classes when I was in high school and stuff, and I don't know. I just love drawing, especially with pixel art, and then like animating. I think that's really fun. That's probably my favorite part of the whole process is just kind of seeing this stuff come to life.
Yeah, I bet. Going back, shifting to like the gameplay side of stuff, how do you balance like the linear progression with the freedom of backtracking from Metrovania style?
Yeah, I actually really like that question because I mean I'm always worrying about this stuff. Like, oh, is it going to be boring to backtrack in this mostly text-based game? So I think the like the setting really helps with that because I kind of have the city, and you've got these big skyscrapers and stuff. So like I can kind of expand each room upwards, but then make it fairly easy to navigate like when you're on the ground. So
Yeah.
hopefully backtracking's not terrible.
Okay. Yeah, that
Yeah.
makes sense. So it's more like backtracking back down levels
Yeah.
versus like traversing the map. Uh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of, you were mentioning like the character classes. Can you walk us through how the character classes like affect playstyle?
Sure.
Um, yeah, are they more about like stats, narrative, flavor, or both?
Definitely a little bit of both. So like when you're exploring, I'm planning for it to kind of affect like different options you might find. like if there's like a crashed helicopter or something. I've got like a paratrooper class, so he may be able to like use the radio or like repair the broken radio or something in the helicopter and get some sort of special interaction. And then definitely with the combat, I want each class to have like their own abilities they could use. So like the engineer might be able to leave like turrets behind or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds really cool. So if it's there's a potential for them to like get certain interactions, does it kind of affect the storyline at all?
Um, I think so. I think mostly though it would be for like flavor text.
Yeah.
Just kind of things that would be like make a certain playthrough unique.
Okay, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds cool. And I saw a lot of classes, so
Yeah.
uh yeah, very exciting.
Yeah.
Um I saw also it's turn-based combat. What went into designing that?
Okay, so when I initially made the Steam page, I had the idea of turn-based combat, and then now I'm probably about a year into the combat system now, and it's definitely progressed away from that turn-based. So it's a little more. It's kind of like a mix of both.
Oh.
If you're familiar with RuneScape, I got a lot of inspiration off of that, where basically the way that system works is every like zero point 0.6 seconds, the game calculates damage and stuff, and then you can like kind of queue up actions, and they happen at those intervals. So like if you got a weapon with a attack speed of like 4, it'll attack every fourth cycle.
Oh,
So
okay.
it'll be kind of like that, and then there's like some movement stuff. Um, I basically have like these tiles, and it's like a third person's perspective, and you have the player characters sitting on the tiles, and they kind of like move around on the tiles to dodge attacks and stuff.
Sounds a bit more complicated than just
Yeah,
like the stereotypical turn-based. But very
it's def-
interesting.
yeah, it's definitely unique, and it's still in the early stages. So a lot of it may change, but yeah, I really like the combat system of RuneScape, and kind of wanted to take my favorite parts and then kind
Yeah.
of mix them around and do my own thing with them.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. That ties into again like making a game that you would want to play.
Yeah.
Um uh so yeah, so there are 9 starting classes and 8 upgradable skills right now, right?
Yeah.
How do you go about like balancing the different builds and ensuring no one approach is overpowered?
Sure. So I think definitely the most useful tool for this is Excel and like spreadsheets. I've spent so much time building like all the back end stuff that should be in place to hopefully make it easy to add more content. Um,
Love
and just
hearing spreadsheets are involved
yeah,
always. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, you have a spreadsheet, and then when you add like a new armor piece, you can compare the stats with like every enemy that's in the game, and you
Nice.
kind of just identify anything that doesn't look right, and then obviously playtesting. But yeah.
Sorry if you can hear someone doing, I think, lawn work outside.
Oh no, that's okay. I get it.
But yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah, love hearing spreadsheets are getting involved
Yeah.
because then you can definitely it helps with balancing a lot too. And
Yeah.
then yeah, it does make adding content easier.
Yeah.
Um, so the armor grants abilities also, right?
Yeah.
Can
So a bit of another idea I was inspired by. But like the classic armor set that like that gives you like a damage boost, but you have to be below like 20% health or something,
Yeah.
or like a thorns type thing where it reflects damage back, like a tiny amount back every time you get hit, and just stuff like that.
It helps the player craft a play style that fits them, or find solutions for their play style if it's not working.
Yeah, and I just love stuff like that. I think it adds so much replayability, and
Agreed.
I don't know, that you just find something that works for you, and maybe somebody else hates it, but you really like it, and it just kind of, there's like really cool skill expression and stuff like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it helps make the game be one that, very like a broad range of players will enjoy.
And then you can do like challenge playthroughs and stuff, and
Right.
you just run with it.
Yeah. So what was the most challenging stat or mechanic to balance? I was seeing vitality, evasion, will.
So definitely, the thing I've been struggling with the most recently is probably, I think it's strength on there, and firearms. So you've got like a melee weapon and then like a ranged weapon. And I think the idea right now, since the grid you're standing on is it's like 5 by 2, so it's like two horizontal, uh, like a grid. So the way I want to set it up is like when you're in the front row, you can only use your melee weapon because you're too close. And then when you're in the back row, you can use your ranged weapon.
Oh, right.
And then I guess the thing I've been struggling to balance the most is, you know, melee is a little underpowered. Why wouldn't you just hang back and just range them if it's
Right.
safer? So kind of just making making them their own thing and encouraging people to try stuff. And I also want people to either I want them to be able to specialize if they'd like to, like if they only want to do melee, um, or the same with the firearms, or if they want to do like a mix of both, they can do both as well.
Right.
So yeah, it's just finding the right balance so people are encouraged to try stuff. And
I think the issue with melee and like the whole like why wouldn't you just hang in the back and fire, like I think that's an issue that a lot of games have faced. But it's good to hear that you're like taking note of that sort of thing and then trying to find sort of a workable solution.
Yeah, just like a creative solution to it.
Yeah.
And I know we talked about like the armor abilities, but I would also really like there to be like weapon abilities. So like, maybe like there's a shotgun you get that lets you use it from the front row.
Oh,
cool. That's special, and it like knocks you back to the back row.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So like you kind of like get these things where you're kind of using your weapon abilities to jump around instead of your stamina, which is limited.
Oh, that's so interesting. Yeah. Yeah, that's another like creative way to add a potential path that the player can take during like combat. So were there any like, because you said you do play testing, have you had anyone like, how has your play testing been handled? Has it been you, or have you had other people going through it yet?
Definitely mostly me. I think I've played, well, obviously,
Yeah.
I've played more than anybody.
Yeah.
I've launched my game so many times just testing stuff, but I get friends and family to try it and kind of give me feedback. I try not to mess with the feedback I'm getting too much by like telling them how to solve stuff.
Right.
And then I do have a very old demo up on itch that a few people played and gave me some feedback on.
Nice. I think every game developer probably plays their game the most. So you're not that's not uncommon, but
Yeah.
were there any like player discoveries that have happened during those outside playtests?
Um, I think so. I know my girlfriend's younger brother. He was testing it for me, and he found a pretty funny bug. That I don't know.
I
I
love funny bugs.
yeah. I had no idea like that could have even happened. So it was hilarious. It
What
was
was
like
it?
so I built this whole dialogue system. Uh, it lets me do all kinds of cool stuff with the story. Um, but there's something in there, and this same message just kept popping up. I had no idea why it would pop up, and it would pop up at the funniest times. But yeah, I'd
uh,
probably say that was the most memorable thing.
I love funny bugs like that,
Yeah,
definitely.
yeah,
Like
me too.
anytime those pop up on one of my social media feeds, that's a highlight of my day.
Yeah.
Um, so shifting over to like maybe more of the technical stuff, what game engine or tools do you use to develop?
Sure. So right now, I'm using Unity. Um, 3 years ago, I knew nothing about it. Uh, I downloaded it like once forever ago, tried it, didn't, I got totally lost. So I learned all that myself, self-taught. And then I found basically like with the text adventure, I needed like the non-linearity and everything. And that was very difficult. So I found this scripting language called Ink, and that makes it really easy to kind of create these stories and like the branching paths and everything.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yeah, and then I use for my art, I use this program called Pixel Edit, Pyxel. Um, but yeah, it's nice because it's kind of like Ace Sprite, where it has like a live preview of what you're animating.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool. For ink, is does it help you track like the different branching
yeah,
possibilities? Oh, that's cool.
and they have their own editor, so you can like test your stories before you put them in the game.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, and it kind of like lets you skip to certain parts, and like I can place down bookmarks anywhere and kind of like run my own scripting stuff
Yeah.
within there and like talk to my game. Um, yeah, I've spent a lot of time just kind of building these tools that I can use to make hopefully a ton of really good content for my game.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's good spending that time at the start to get these things like get a good solid foundation on how these things are done because then you get to that point where you can just add content in or
Yeah.
tweak stuff on the fly. Um, very
Yes.
interesting.
I guess like the plan I'm kind of working with right now with or like the roadmap is I want to get a really solid demo put out there for people to try for free before I go and do a Kickstarter and everything.
Yeah.
And I want that demo to probably be about like 6 to 8 hours long. I really want it to be
Oh,
like
wow.
really polished and everything. It's like a ton of content.
Damn.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the length of some just regular games. So
Yeah.
that's an intense demo.
Yeah.
But it shows that you have like a lot of ideas and, you know, I am
Yeah.
very interested to see what gets made. Um, do you have from your experience with all this? Um, so do you have prior like game development experience or is this kind of all new to you?
So I went to school for IT. Um, I got my bachelor's probably about 4 years ago, and then I had a lot of trouble finding a job after college. Um, I mean, tons of like rejections and like,
Yeah.
I'd get to like the third stage of an interview and then get rejected. And I kind of just got fed up of that and was like, okay, I don't want my skills to like get stale. So like, let me start a project and, maybe I can put that on my resume. And then this kind of just ballooned up and now like I'm fully on board and working
That's
on
so
it.
cool.
Yeah.
Um, do you have any advice for aspiring devs who would want to develop a game like this?
Um, Definitely. Uh, people talk all the time about scope creep, and it is very real. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, definitely like manage scope. Uh, I think I messed up a little bit, like not rushing to prototype the combat and ensure that that's good, and like really nailed that down. I feel like people always like jump into like, oh, let's start making my story
Yeah.
and making the artwork and like the app icon and all that all that
Yeah.
stuff. Before they have any idea if the game's going to be any fun. So I'm definitely, I guess it's nice with my project because it's like two halves. So like I know the text adventure part is going to be good. Like if the writing's good and like it's functional. Um, because people love text adventures, well not like everybody, but like, there there's fans out there that really love those. And
Yeah.
then my combat system, I am focused very hard on like just making sure it's fun before it looks pretty or any of that stuff. I'm just trying to add more to it and give it a lot of depth.
Yeah, that makes sense. I agree. It's always good to get that solid foundation for the technical stuff down as quick as possible because maybe not as quick as possible, but one of the first things because
Yeah.
you don't want to be changing stuff a few months into the game that requires like a huge change or a huge shift in the way that the player is expected to play the game. And combat is one of those things. But I also see the draw of doing like if you find the art more fun or like something like that, like I see the draw
Yeah.
in wanting to do that side. And
Yeah.
yeah,
And
whatever motivates you.
yeah, I know like working, I did a lot of the art really early on and I did it at the wrong resolution because I had no idea what I was doing.
Oh
So then I
no.
had to go and like redraw everything. So there's just stuff like that can happen, and I think it's better to just kind of like know your engine and know like like Unity has like scaling. When I was like making my first scene, I totally messed up the scaling. The scaling got changed, and then everything's just like
Oh no.
it's so confusing.
Yeah.
So I ended up having to scrap that and start over. But yeah, there's a lot of little traps that you can find. It's good to just kind of keep an eye out. And I really like to build uh, my project in a way where I can like it's very modular.
Yeah.
Where when I add to it, it shouldn't really affect everything that's already been built. It's kind of its own thing, and then you can just keep adding more to it.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it.
Yeah.
I'll say also, whenever anytime I try like a new engine or anytime I was developing in something new, I would do things in bite size because I was scared about like, oh God, what if I do all the art and then it's the wrong like resolution or
Yeah.
it isn't showing right because I have some setting not set properly, but it's not one that you can just easily change. And so yeah, I do recommend like always starting with like a bite-sized piece and like maybe making like one piece of art and then seeing if that gets translated into the scene, and maybe even packaging that and seeing how like that goes on whatever screens you're targeting, just to make sure.
Yeah.
Because that's unfortunate, but your art looks really cool now.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I've definitely come a long way. I think the art I have up there, like on my Steam page and stuff, uh, is definitely a little outdated in
Oh,
terms of like what I can do now. Um, but yeah, like I just want to eventually, once I get a little closer, like completely update the Steam page with the new art and like a demo trailer and stuff. And but I mean, for right now, it's okay. Like you said, it does look good, but it definitely looks a lot better now, and I'm really happy with it.
interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to see. This next question is a little different. I'm just
Yeah.
curious, if you were to summarize the indie game dev experience in 3 words, what would they be? I know it's a
Uh,
tough one.
yeah. I'm trying to think of like a kind of funny one. Something about marketing. Like,
Oh,
yeah. Because I mean, marketing is so
so
difficult.
important.
Yeah, and like a lot of people struggle with it because it is really hard to just kind of get out there and be like, "Hey, watch my thing," because like it feels like you're bothering everybody and like self promoting, and it you know it's just I see a lot of people in the indie dev space struggle with their marketing and
Really great games getting lost in the wind because
yeah
not marketing. How about don't forget marketing? That's
yeah
3 words.
I like that.
I agree. That's really important, and it's unfortunate. Like it's heartbreaking seeing like really creative, passionate people making like works of art games that just aren't picking up the right traction marketing wise.
Yeah, I see games all the time on the like the indie dev subreddits. Um, this guy had this absolutely gorgeous pixel art game that was like a roguelike or roguelite, and it was really fun. Even though like I couldn't get my controller to work, I'm sure he would figure that out eventually and get that working and everything. But it was really cool, and he was saying nobody played it, and
Damn.
it was just crazy.
At least he was posting on Reddit, because a lot of indie devs don't even post anywhere,
Yeah,
until it's done.
yeah, and I think that's kind of one thing I'm doing a little bit of. I'm terrified of doing it too early, like when I don't have a lot to show, which right now I don't. Like a lot of it is kind of back end stuff that are like the player's not going to notice, but they're really nice like building blocks that have been
Right.
like the like really solid foundation. Um
I think your Instagram posts are nice though.
yeah,
And that
yeah, thank you.
definitely is like good posting, because it captures it.
Yeah, but yeah, I definitely don't post on there nearly as much as I should. But
Who has the time to do it as much as you should?
yeah,
It really is a
it's
full-time job.
yeah, I did it kind of as a like a and maybe not quite part or like not quite full time, maybe like between full time and part time. But yeah, it is really hard, especially when you're a little shy like I am, and it's just hard to like put yourself out there. And everybody's been super nice and encouraging. I don't think I've had anybody say anything negative about my game, even though I know they will eventually. But
Because
uh,
it's because the
yeah,
internet.
yeah, but
But I get being shy, but I think your game's really great. Like I would not be upset to see more posts from your game, when you get to that point where you're wanting
yeah.
to. Um,
Well, thank you.
yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely like to pick it up more as I go and
that
get
makes
closer.
sense. I did see, did you have plans to do a Kickstarter? Is
Yeah,
that
yeah. So that would probably come after the demo has been out for a while, and yeah, maybe I get some feedback from that, and
okay?
yeah,
Yeah, keep us
I like
posted
it.
so we know
Yeah,
when it's up and live.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Um, and then my last question is, what's one thing you hope players take away from their experience playing your game?
Uh, yeah, I was thinking about this one. I think I just want them to like remember the game world, uh, and like enjoy their time in it, and really just I just want it to be a fun game. I know it's kind of sad if you think about it that like I'll never get to play it like everybody else will because I'm the one that built it.
Right?
Um, but I just I hope people have a lot of fun with it. I've put a lot of like love into it, and
Yeah, you can see that for sure. I think people will enjoy it because I think you are spending a lot of time putting together the right pieces. And it's a very interesting looking game. Um, so yeah, and it is unfortunate you won't get to play it for the first time, right?
yeah,
But you
yeah,
will get to see other people playing it for the first time, which
that
kind
is
of probably
true.
will hit your heart a little differently. But
Oh
uh,
yeah, I'm sure.
yeah,
I see people all the time talking about how great that feeling is. So I really hope people like it.
yeah. Um, so yeah, that was all the questions I had for you. I really appreciate you coming on and talking about your game.
Yeah,
And
thank you. Yeah, it was
yeah.
really nice talking to you.
Oh, also, real quick, don't forget to follow Nathan and follow the progress.
Yes,
I'll
thank
clip
you.
that in.
Yes. Also follow Pixel Breakdown
Oh,
if you
thank you.
haven't yet. Yeah.